All right, now it's time to shift over to the WION Newsroom. Joining me is Adhya Juneja for all the updates from business, Athira Shashidharan, who will bring us all the updates from sports. We begin with Adhya to get us all the business updates. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Shivan. Let's start with what is happening in the precious metals market. Gold surged to fresh record highs after softer than expected US inflation data reinforced bets that the Federal Reserve will begin cutting interest rates later this year. The weaker inflation outlook, combined with political pressure on the Fed and ongoing geopolitical uncertainty, boost demand for safe haven assets. Silver outperformed, smashing through the $90 level for the first time ever after already posting strong gains this year. Other precious metals followed the rally, with platinum and palladium also climbing sharply as investors positioned for a prolonged low-rate environment. Next up, oil prices edged lower after 4 straight sessions of gains, pressured by rising US crude and fuel inventories and the resumption of Venezuelan oil exports. The return of supply helped ease immediate concerns over tight markets. However, losses were limited as unrest in Iran raised fears of potential supply disruption from one of OPEC's key producers. Analysts say geopolitical risks remain a major driver, keeping a risk premium firmly embedded in oil prices despite signs of improving supply elsewhere. And lastly, the Japanese yen slid to its weakest level in a year and a half as speculation grew over a possible snap election that could open the door to fiscal stimulus. Now, the move was compounded by weak demand at a Japanese government bond auction, pushing investors to demand higher yields. As the yen nears the 160 per dollar level, markets are increasingly alert to the risk of currency intervention by authorities. Elsewhere, the US dollar held steady as investors balanced stable inflation data against rising political pressure on the Federal Reserve. Well, that's it from the world of business. Now, for all the sports updates, it's over to you, Athira.
Thank you so much, Adhya. Here are the top sports stories we're tracking for you at this hour. We'll begin with football first. The Afcon semi-finals are here. Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane will face off in the first semi-finals as Egypt take on Senegal. It will be a rematch of the 2021 Afcon final, which Senegal had won. Egypt will be in a confident mood after knocking out defending champions Ivory Coast in the quarter-finals. Salah and Mane were teammates at Liverpool for 5 years before the Senegalese star left the Reds in the summer of 2022. The second semi-final will also take place later today, with host Morocco facing Nigeria. Staying with football, Manchester City will take a big advantage into the second leg of the EFL Cup semi-final after securing a 2-0 win over holders Newcastle. New signing Antoine Semenyo opened the scoring for the City in the 53rd minute. Semenyo seemed to have scored a second goal shortly after an arm mark, but it was disallowed after a 5.5-minute VAR check. Ryan Cherky then added the second deep into the injury time to secure the win at the St. James Park. Holders Newcastle will visit the Etihad for the second leg on February 4th. US snowboarder Chloe Kim said that she will be fit to compete at the Winter Olympics taking place next month despite dislocating her shoulder last week. The 25-year-old had an MRI scan on Friday after injuring her shoulder while training in Switzerland. Kim is aiming to become the first woman to win 3 consecutive Olympic gold medals in the half-pipe. She made the history at the 2018 Games in South Korea by becoming the youngest to win an Olympic snowboarding gold medal at just the age of 17 years. Kim then defended the title 4 years later in Beijing. This year's Winter Games will take place in Italy from February 6. Lastly, Roger Federer will be back on court at the Australian Open. The tennis legend will headline an exhibition match as a part of the 2026 edition's opening ceremony on Saturday. The 6-time Australian Open champion will take part in the Grand Slam's inaugural ceremony with a special Battle of the World #1's game. He will play alongside 8-time Grand Slam champion Andre Agassi and Australian stars Patrick Rafter and Leighton Hewitt. The Swiss star played his final tournament at Melbourne Park 6 years ago. Well, with that, we've come to the end of the sports segment. It's back to you, Shivan.
Athira and Adhya, thank you so much for getting us those updates from business and sports. That's a wrap on this edition of the WION Newsroom.